Hi there, my name is Jessica Caceres. I am a board certified nurse practitioner and the founder of Bonita Medical Aesthetics and Wellness located in St. Jacobs, Ontario. Thank you so much for being here and taking the time to watch this video. I would like to walk you through everything that you need to know about Metabolic Balance program, specifically what Metabolic Balance is, how it works, what's included in the program, and what you can expect, as well as how to get started if you're ready to get going. But before we do that, I just wanted to share just really briefly how personal this is for me. I have struggled with my weight for so many years, like even back in high school and even in elementary school. I remember being teased about, being overweight and so forth. And I have tried every diet known to man, every program known to man. And even though some of them worked for a short period of time, I still always felt unwell, that as though the food that I was consuming wasn't really digesting well, perhaps having some sensitivities to food. And I, despite being in the medical industry, have tried so many different things to figure out what exactly it was that I was consuming that wasn't working for me, and really never got down to the root cause until Metabolic Balance. I happened to stumble across a colleague of mine at a conference that was totally unrelated to Metabolic Balance, and she shared this incredible program, and I was immediately drawn to the program, the thought of, again, using food as medicine, which was something that was so near and dear to my heart for so many years. Growing up in a South American family, you got sick, and the first thing my mom would say is, let's make a vegetable soup and heal that gut, right? And we just got away from it as time goes on. And so now, it's really been so life-changing that I knew I had to bring this to Bonita to help better support my patients, not only my HRT patients, but also all of the clients that we see that come through our doors that are struggling with rosacea, with acne, with different skin concerns that we know are gut related and metabolism related as well. So really excited to have this as part of our offerings at Bonita. So with that, let's dive in. What we're going to cover today is, of course, first, what is Metabolic Balance about and what is the science behind it? We're going to talk about what's included in the program at Bonita, as well as what you can expect to achieve and how to get started, including the investment. So what is Metabolic Balance? Well, it was developed over 25 years ago by Dr. Wolf Funfack in Germany. This program was originally designed by Dr. Funfack and his team to help reverse metabolic syndrome and to heal inflammation in his patients. And of course, by doing so, what they noticed right away is that their patients were able to maintain a very healthy body weight long term and feel really, really good. And so from that, the program was built by studying the chemistry of individual lab values and that of the chemistry of food, and then pairing those together by using food as a prescription. So let me say that again. So we're looking at your blood values, so your regular run-of-the-mill labs that you would go to, Life Labs or Dynacare, and have your blood drawn. We're looking at those lab values, and then we're looking at the chemistry of food and pairing food with what your lab values look like in order to provide that nourishment that your body is so desperately wanting and needing. So it's really, that's the core of the program, is using food as medicine. And I'm going to say, as a nurse practitioner with over 20 years in the health industry, I've really come to realize how important it is to use food as medicine and how overlooked it is. Working with women, navigating hormonal changes, this program has really, really opened my eyes to the possibility of supporting my clients in such a meaningful way. So how does this work? So we draw your blood. We send you off to the lab. I do up a requisition for you, go to the lab, you get it drawn. And through the Metabolic Balance system, which is scientifically validated, it's a whole process that's developed by a medical team in Germany, your lab results are reviewed and clinically validated, and then suggestions are made based on your lab markers and your biomarkers as far as which food would be best for you to consume. So again, it's looking at these precise biomarkers and developing a personalized nutrition plan that identifies the specific foods, the portions, and the meals structured that are aligned with your individual biochemistry. So with Metabolic Balance, is 100% natural. There's no injections, there's no pills, there's no shakes, there's no proprietary foods. You don't need to count calories, you don't have to track points, you don't have to log anything. Everything is in your plan, and can be found at your local grocery store or Whole Food store. You do not need to go anywhere else. What's really cool is that to date, this program is active in over 36 countries, and it has the highest global success rate for lifelong health benefits and weight management, ranging from 60 to 80%, which is exceptional. So what can you expect from this program? What does it actually look like in real life? Well, first and foremost, weight loss and improved body composition. But the same is true in some clients who have actually been undernourished and not providing their body with enough nutrients. We oftentimes see a very positive shift in their body composition because their body is being nourished properly. But for those of us who maybe are overweight, definitely we see a weight loss and improved body composition. Better energy throughout the day, hormonal balance, we see improved sleep quality, better moods, mental clarity, reduced bloating and digestive issues, less inflammation and joint discomfort because, again, we're bringing down that inflammation, reduction in allergies and food sensitivities, which is incredible. It's all related to a histamine reaction and how that is so impacted by inflammation, right? So everything is intertwined. Nothing is an individual symptom. Things are so very, very, very much intertwined in our bodies. For many people, we're able to actually reduce some of their medications if they're on medications for, high blood pressure, diabetes, etc. And of course, most clients feel better within a week of being on their plan. It is really that quick. And what's really cool about this too is that a lot of people notice that there's actually a financial savings because you're not going out to eat. You're not, eating drive-through garbage anymore. You are actually having these planned meals, which are organized. You're taking them with you to work. You're eating them in the evening, and you're just feeling so much better because you're eating the food that your body is meant to have to provide nourishment. So with that, let's talk about the foundations, the 8 daily rules. So the first rule of the Metabolic Balance program, so these are 8 rules that you're going to follow every day as best as you can. First one is eat exactly 3 meals a day. No snacking between meals, because this does tend to spike insulin levels, and we'll talk about that in a bit and why that's important. Rule number 2 is 5-hour breaks between meals. So this is not exactly 5 hours. It can be 4 to 6, somewhere in there, but ideal to have that break in between so that it allows our body and our digestive system to do what it needs to do between meals. Rule number 3, and this is for the grazers, having your meal within 60 minutes. So definitely do not want to be eating, a meal over a course of many hours. Start to finish of having your meal should be about 60 minutes. And this is, again, not to have the insulin continuing to spike over and over again. And rule number 4 is to start each meal with a bite or 2 of protein. This is really important because we want the amino acids in the protein to hit our digestive tract first so that there's a release of glucagon, which really slows down the release of insulin. Again, right back to insulin. There's reasons why, these rules are what they are. And then rule number 5 is 1 protein per meal with 3 different proteins per day. So for example, you could do eggs for breakfast, chicken for lunch, and maybe fish for dinner or some variation thereof. And this is really so that you get the expansive amino acid profile throughout the day as opposed to having the same protein over and over again. And amino acids are so important for hormone production. Rule number 6, if possible, don't eat after 9 o'clock. This is hard for some shift workers, but definitely the reason behind that is that we want your body to have its natural overnight detoxification time. If you're eating past 9 o'clock, your liver really doesn't have time to do everything that it needs to do. And so that's really important. Rule number 7, and admittedly, this is the hardest one for me, is getting your prescribed amount of water in. So it's really, really vital that you drink as much water as intended on your plan. It will give you exactly how much to consume. This is really important because we can only eliminate and flush out the excess and toxins in our body when we have enough water. So you can have some herbal teas, cucumber or mint in your water just to give it that extra little bit of taste, as well as I highly recommend adding some sea minerals or a pinch of Himalayan salt to your water just to kind of keep it interesting, but also to help with hydration. And last but not least, perhaps one of the most important rules is Rule 8 and eating an apple a day. This is essentially a multivitamin, in a form of a delicious apple. It helps to lower uric acid, helps to draw out toxins to the colon for elimination. It does all kinds of things. So really, really important. So really simple 8 rules, really nothing complicated. As you go through the program, you'll see that they just become part of your life and you don't even think about them anymore because you're just doing them. Okay, so why do we focus so much on insulin? We keep talking about it. So let's chat a little bit more in depth. Insulin is the body's master hormone. When insulin is elevated, what ends up happening is you start to see a rise in cholesterol. We start to see a rise in triglycerides. We start to see a rise in our stress hormones. And then, of course, we start to see a lowering of melatonin, which is a critical hormone that helps us rest and sleep and have that really good restorative sleep. And we also start seeing a decline in our DHEA, which is a precursor hormone and so important, as well as we start to see a decline in our human growth hormone, which causes a decrease in fat breakdown. So having high insulin increases all of these negative cascade effects. Increases and then decreases all the positive things that we want in our body, like melatonin for our sleep, DHEA that helps with hormone regulation and building hormones, and human growth hormone, which helps with weight loss and fat breakdown. So you can see how it's really, really impactful. So why we look at having 3 meals versus 6 meals a day, 6 being 3 big dinners or 3 big meals and a bunch of snacks in between. You can see by this picture here that the dark blue line is the rise and fall of insulin throughout the day, whereas that blue little reservoir from the 120 downward line here, that is when we start to see sort of fat breakdown or fat burning times. And you can see when there's continuous amounts of eating and grazing, our insulin is just constantly spiking and never really has time to come down to allow for fatty breakdown and for release of fat in the body. Whereas when you compare it to having 3 meals a day, you see that nice spike of insulin, which then comes down and there's a lot more burning of fat and the breakdown of fat versus having this continuous sort of steady state of insulin, which actually increases fatty production. So it's really important to allow that body that time so that we can get back into a fat burning mode. So think of this as being sort of like intermittent fasting, although very, very small windows of time, but we want to give our body enough time to digest our foods and break down the well-balanced meals that we're consuming. So let's talk about the 4 phases of metabolic balance. Starting with phase 1, this is a very gentle 2-day cleanse. We're using some magnesium citrate powder. We mix it with water, very light protein and fruit breakfast, followed by a homemade vegetable soup for lunch and dinner. So you're still eating 3 meals a day, very, very comfortable, and it sets the tone for the conversion phase, which is the 14 days following the cleanse. It's 2 days. You never have to go back. Easy peasy. You'll want to stay home for this because you are going to be visiting the bathroom often, but it is very, very comfortable. You want to drink lots of water. And you also want to get to bed at a good hour both of those days so that you can rest. Phase 2 is the 14-day strict conversion phase. This is where we're following our food plan right to the T. We are not cooking with any oils. So there is a phase now where we want to sort of do a lipid or a fat cleanse. And so we're cooking in other ways and we will guide you through that. Very, very straightforward. And we're following our meal plan to a T. Phase 3, which is essentially day 16 onward, is more of a relaxed phase. This is when we start to open up the food list, more options, as well as we bring in cooking oils, condiments, and weekly treat meals. This is really a beautiful time because we're able to open up, some of the foods that are recommended, and it really gives you more freedom and flexibility, and you just start to feel like this is how you're going to live now. And really, really is an impactful time with a lot of good change because you see so many great benefits of changing the way that you're eating in a very positive way. Phase 4 is the maintenance phase. So once you've reached your goal, phase 4 gives you the tools to sustain and maintain them for life. If things were ever to shift or you were to feel a little bit off balance, no problem. You have absolutely everything in this plan to go back and perhaps go back to phase 2 and then go through it again. It's very, very exciting because again, this is telling you exactly in a very prescriptive way what your body should be being fed. And it's really, really exciting. So this is an example of the personal food list. It's very, very clear as far as what proteins under each category are part of your plan. Carbohydrates, as you see, there's bread and fruits and so forth. Of course, if you're gluten-free, the bread will be reflecting, a gluten-free option, but it's really quite a variety of foods. And again, this is just an example. This is not what your plan would look like specifically, as no two plans are the same, but it's really gives you an overview of what it would look like. The plan does also include some meal suggestions where they put together breakfast, lunch, and dinner and give you exactly the quantities. Of course, this is only a guide. You do not have to follow this at all, but I do find that it's very, very helpful, and most people do like it. So what does the support look like with the Metabolic Balance 12-week transformation program through Bonita? So we offer 5 one-on-one virtual meetings with me throughout the program. The first is the initial consultation, where we'll review your health history and get your blood work requisition going. Your plan review is where we go through your plan page by page. And the early check-in is around day 10 or day 16, when your plan is transitioning from, that phase 2 to phase 3, followed by the 6-week meeting or lifestyle meeting, which is essentially the halfway mark. And then the last meeting is the 5th appointment, which we're really reviewing the final bits and pieces of metabolic balance. Even if you're not at phase 4, that's okay. We're going to give you all the information that you have to be able to feel super empowered and ready to transition when you get to that point. Additionally, we have weekly email check-ins that will happen on Fridays. This is where you'll send us a screenshot of your body composition scale, and we'll kind of keep track and see how things are transitioning from week to week. And we're available through email to answer any questions and to guide you if you have any questions. And it's really quite a beautiful process. Once you get started with me, you will give you access immediately to the Getting Started Guide, which is a 5-module prep course that unlocks immediately. And it walks you through the blood work, the prep items, the program overview, and meaningful sort of exercises around why you're doing this, like why looking for change, right? It's very, very exciting. Once we have your plan completed, and this would be at the time that we're having our second meeting, the 12-week transformation course is unlocked. And this is a comprehensive online course with a new module being delivered to your inbox every single week. And it's covering things like nutritional phases. We talk about mindset, meal planning, some sleep, or a module around sleep. There's one on stress management and navigating social situations. And there's honestly so much more there. We've put together an over 50-page program workbook that you'll get access to. And it's basically guiding you through the modules as well. It's all based on each week. There's some reflection prompts in there, and there's some tracking tools as well as some recipe resources. It's really quite exciting. And for those that are interested, there's also a Metabolic Balance app that can make meal tracking a little bit easier, but definitely not mandatory. But as a bonus at Bonita, we have actually built a custom AI meal planning tool called Max. He's quite a cute little avocado, and he's your personal metabolic balance meal coach. So he'll help to basically make sense of your meal plan in terms of putting together some ideas, making some recipe recommendations, as well as putting together grocery lists and batch prep items. So if you're somebody who likes to batch prep in terms of your meal planning, which we'll talk about, it's all there ready to go. And he even gives you some inspirational information as the days go on. So what classifies a successful, weight loss plan? And really, when we look at how an individual reaches their goal weight and maintains it for 2 years is really what determines if it's successful. And Metabolic Balance has a 60 to 80% success rate of doing just that. It's the only program that has had a higher than 50% success rate in over 35 countries. So overall, it's globally the highest success rate, which is incredible. And when we're talking about realistically how much weight, can you expect to lose? Initially, about 5 to 8% within the first 16 days. Of course, there's so many factors that affect that, but that is the general rule of thumb. And then after that, 1 to 2% of your total body weight per week until the optimal body weight has been achieved. So an example of, a starting weight of 180 pounds, we're looking at 9 to 14 pounds initially. during the first 16 days, and then around a 1.5 to 3 pound weight loss per week thereafter. Of course, in the more strict phase 2 and 3, there will be more weight loss than, of course, in the maintenance phase. So this is just an overview of what the 12 modules that are part of the online program through Bonita. So week 1 is a welcome, week 2 is a mindset matters. This is a really key and beautiful module, as we have Haley Patry, who is a mindset coach. She's recorded a beautiful video and exercise for all of the Metabolic Balance program participants, and it's really meaningful and amazing. Week 3, we talk about what's next in meal planning for success. I think that a major part of the success component of this program is being able to embrace meal planning and really thinking ahead so that you're prepared with your meals. And we have a beautiful module set aside just to do that and to get you motivated and to help you with some ins and outs. Admittedly, that is something that I struggled with for a really long time. Week 4, we're going to talk about some exercise strategies. Week 5, we're going to talk about the power of sleep. Week 6, shifting from plan to lifestyle. So again, getting away from this being as a temporary, sort of diet. I don't even like that word. This is more about how we're transitioning and making solid lifestyle changes. Week 7, we're going to talk about stress management. We all need some stress management, right? Week 8 is navigating social situations and dining out. That can always be a challenge for people when they're following a more restricted, regimented type of way of eating, versus maybe friends and family who maybe don't understand or have a very different philosophy. So we'll help you navigate that. Week 9, we're going to review our pillars of health, which we talk a lot about at the beginning of the program. Week 10, we're going to celebrate our non-scale victories. So these are things like just feeling good in your body, sleeping better, mood is better, etc. Week 11 is welcoming phase 4. And week 8 is a new beginning, where we transition from this support to now this being a lifestyle change for you forevermore. So let's talk about the cost of the program and sort of what's included. So for the entire program is $1,500. That is your investment. It's a one-time fee, and you get lifetime access to your online program as well as your Metabolic Balance meal plan. You'll also get both of the online courses, the Getting Started Guide, as well as the 12-week Metabolic Reset program. You're going to get the 5 appointments with me that are all done virtually. You're going to get your 50+ page course book, recipe books, and custom meal planning assistance through our little AI assistant. We're going to do our weekly check-ins. And most importantly, there are no additional costs at all to you. You will always have your information to revert back to. Go away on a nice holiday and you come back and you want to sort of cleanse things up. Well, you've got everything that you need for life. This is custom to you, and there is nothing else like nothing else like this out there is what I'm trying to say. So honestly, this is such a value-filled program, and I really hope that you see that because it is truly life-changing. So if you are ready to get started, you can go ahead and click the button below this video and you can book your first appointment with me. It's an initial consultation. You will be sent a couple of forms to complete. One is a consultation intake form and the other is a consent form. When we meet, I will get your lab work requisitions set up. I will send you the link to purchase the program, and you will get immediate access to the Getting Started Guide. And then we'll meet a week later once we get your lab work back, and or a week or two depending on your schedule, and we'll review your personalized plan and pick a start date, and then you'll get access to the 12-week course. So it is pretty easy peasy, and I hope that this information video has answered all your questions. If it has not, you can go ahead and email us at info@bonitamed.com, and I am happy to answer any questions that you might have. So again, thank you so much, and we hope to be part of your journey.